Ohio University and Athens residents are doing their part to send help to disaster-stricken areas in Puerto Rico. And after returning from Puerto Rico, President Trump landed in Vegas just a few hours ago. We have the latest.
And in sports, the baseball postseason is in full swing and the New York Yankees are off to a good start. Newswatch starts right now.
Broadcasting live from WOUB TV in Athens, this is Newswatch.
The Ohio University community is doing its part today to help those most affected by Hurricane Maria. Good afternoon, I'm Jacob Solether. Thanks for joining us. Students were hard at work gathering disaster relief supplies this afternoon. Less than 2 hours ago, a plane departed from Ohio University full of disaster relief supplies. After dropping supplies in Puerto Rico, it will pick up 8 survivors and take them to Florida.
Jacob, it's been a whirlwind 24 hours for OU professor Tanya Basta, who organized the relief flight and is overwhelmed by the outpouring of support.
Outpouring of what we needed right now as American citizens to show love.
Dr. Tanya Basta knew she needed to do something to help her friends in Puerto Rico.
They really felt like they were isolated and left alone and didn't have any communication.
So the chair of the Department of Social and Public Health had an idea.
I thought on Friday night, we have a plane. Why not run a humanitarian mission down to Puerto Rico if it was possible?
And as of last night, the trip was funded.
And around 9 o'clock last night that I realized we were going to be taking supplies down. And so I put out pleas on social media and said, please share, and people shared.
Share they did. Batsa received more than $1,000 of donations of supplies and money from local community members and businesses.
Honestly, it makes me want to cry because I can't believe the outpouring and the love from Athens and from OU.
More than 2,000 pounds of supplies was packed up on the plane. Now, as for the pilot who's flying that plane, it's Ohio University Chief Pilot Nick Lather. This is the second trip for the pilot, who flew to Naples, Florida last month to deliver donations for Hurricane Irma relief. Live in the studio tonight for WOUB News, I'm Lily Bradley.
Thanks, Lily. 2 in 5 Ohio households struggle to come by basic necessities. That's according to a new report released today by the Ohio United Way. The report finds nearly 1.8 million households have difficulty affording housing, childcare, food transportation, and health care. 14% of Ohio households live in poverty. Another 26% are working poor households. The United Way calls these asset-limited, income-constrained while employed. According to the study, 67% of Ohio jobs pay less than $20 an hour. A group of Ohio University students, faculty, and Athens leaders are fighting to defend the EPA from proposed budget cuts. Defend Our Future, a nonprofit that focuses on environmental protection, organized a press conference last night. Mayor Steve Patterson spoke and highlighted past cleanup projects the EPA has funded in Athens County, and Associate Professor Stephen Scanlon says the cuts would be harmful.
We actually see that in the long run, environmental protection is actually economically, it's really the only answer. It's really the only solution. We have to protect, and we have to understand.
The 31% decrease from more than $8 billion to less than $6 billion would impact the Brownsfield program and Superfund. In the past, those programs funded local projects that clean toxic chemicals and contaminated properties for reuse.
Good evening, I'm Taylor Nimmo. It was another hot one today in Athens. We're still seeing those temperatures up in the 80s, and those are going to be sticking around for quite some time. It's 82 degrees right now. The winds are pretty mild, so it's pretty nice right now. But around the region, it's all in the lower 80s, 83 in Ironton, 80 in Jackson, 81 New Lex, 81 Newark, so all around those lower 80s for right now. But let's look for the rest of the evening. As 7 o'clock, it's going to be 76 degrees. It's going to start to cool down. It's going to be a crisp evening tonight. It's going to be about 70 degrees, 8 o'clock after dinner. It's going to be a nice night after it starts to cool down. I know it's been a little bit muggy. Everyone's been a little bit wanting to see those fall temperatures, but 66 degrees at 9 o'clock. So we will start to see those cooler temperatures tonight. It might be a nice night, and we'll get more on the full 7-day update coming up next.
Thanks, Taylor. I know we'll all be looking forward to that warm weather for this homecoming weekend. Norton police arrested a suspect today following a shooting in Northeast Ohio last night. The suspect, identified as David Michael Haverlevick of Akron, was taken into custody at Barber Road Storage. Norton police responded after a 911 caller reported a man standing under a storage unit with an assault rifle. First responders say Haverlevick fired and missed officers. Haverlevick was struck by bullets and taken to Akron General Hospital. No police were injured during the incident. Chaining dogs outside overnight is now banned in Columbus. The Columbus City Council unanimously approved the new restrictions at their meeting on Monday. Violators could be charged with misdemeanors ranging from minor to a first-degree offense. Columbus joins several other Central Ohio communities that recently have considered or adopted rules for chaining dogs. West Virginia is set to receive nearly $1 million from the Justice Department. West Virginia's U.S. senators say the money will be split between different West Virginia entities. With this money, improvements will be made to the system that helps police match guns to crimes. The funding will also be used to advance DNA analysis and continue training for the State Police Forensic Laboratory. 500,000 West Virginians still lack access to high-speed internet service, and half of all of those people live in rural areas. Today, U.S. Senator Joe Manchin released a report from the Federal Communications Commission estimates that more than 550,000 West Virginians can't get reliable broadband. Back in July, broadband experts and county officials from Ohio, West Virginia, and Kentucky, and Washington, D.C. held a summit to promote better internet accessibility in rural areas. Former Vice President Joe Biden and Ohio Governor John Kasich are teaming up. The Democrat and Republican are conducting a moderate discussion on bridging political and partisan divides, a conversation that some say is crucial now more than ever after Sunday's mass shooting. Kasich speaks frequently on the need for renewed bipartisan dialogue in U.S. politics to heal the nation's divisions. The discussion will take place on October 17th at the University of Delaware in Newark. The gun control debate is a hot topic throughout the country, with some politicians looking for a potential bipartisan agreement. And President Trump is in Las Vegas just days after the mass shooting and meets with first responders. But the president isn't the only one visiting Vegas to honor lives lost. A man is en route to the city with 59 handmade crosses for the 59 lives lost. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
Hey everybody, I'm Gridiron Glory host Joseph Payton. Every Friday night live at 11:30, we will have a jam-packed show for you with everything that went down on the local gridiron that night. From every touchdown pass to every crushing hit, Gridiron Glory is your #1 source for all things Southeast Ohio football. So please be sure to tune into our show and also follow us on Twitter and Snapchat at Gridiron Glory, and of course like us on Facebook. I promise you won't want to miss out, because remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous. Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything. Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
As officials continue their investigation into Sunday night's mass shooting, the president and first lady visited Las Vegas today. Karen Kaffa is in Vegas with the latest on President Trump's visit and the arrival of a key witness to the United States.
As President Donald Trump meets with victims and heroes from Sunday's deadly shooting, Las Vegas remains a city seeking healing and answers.
We met patients that were absolutely terribly wounded, and the doctors, the nurses, all of the people at the hospital have done a job that's indescribable.
On Tuesday, the Las Vegas Metro Police Department released this body cam video of officers responding to the terrifying scene Sunday night. Get down. The sheriff said the gunfire rained down for about 9 minutes. The ATF says 47 weapons belonging to shooter Stephen Paddock have been recovered so far.
The gunman purchased rifles, shotguns, and pistols.
Investigators trying to uncover why he built such an arsenal and brought 24 to his hotel room here at the Mandalay Bay Resort.
This individual and this attack didn't leave the sort of immediately accessible thumbprints that you find on some mass casualty attacks.
But last night may have brought them a step closer. Marilou Danley, Paddock's girlfriend, arrived in Los Angeles from the Philippines. Investigators hope to gain her insight into the 64-year-old retired accountant she shared a home with. Meanwhile, family members are left to grieve for loved ones lost, like Jenny Parks, a mother of 2 from California.
I cannot think of any better words to describe her than saying she was dearly a precious angel that had been gifted to us.
In Las Vegas, I'm Karen Kaffa.
While in Vegas, Trump said America will struggle through the horror, endure the pain, and overcome trauma together. There are a lot of questions still surrounding the massacre, primarily around the use of automatic weapons. The death of 59 people has reignited the debate on gun control. Protest groups have erupted around the country, calling for tougher gun control laws. Lauren Hansen organized a protest in Wisconsin and says the amendment needs to change because it was written around guns that fired 1 round a minute. And some Democrats have rallied behind the protests looking for a bipartisan agreement.
I don't think that the Second Amendment was designed to include weapons of mass destruction for everyday citizens.
Let's spend a little bit of time this week and next week coming up with some bipartisan solution to this epidemic so that we don't continue to offer what is a quiet endorsement of these continued killings.
Officials are still trying to investigate exactly what weapons Paddock used in the massacre. Currently in Ohio, it is illegal to own a machine gun or other dangerous firearms without certain licenses. These guns are classified as dangerous ordnance and require permission from the federal government or a license from a local sheriff or police chief. An Illinois man is honoring the nearly 60 people killed in Sunday's mass shooting. Marcella Raymond reports on the row of crosses that one man hopes will help heal the nation.
It's a grim day in America.
Greg Zanis makes crosses in his garage for those who have been murdered. He's been working non-stop to make these 59 for those who were killed in Las Vegas Sunday.
This row of crosses will show the severity of what really happened there, more so than numbers and pictures in the paper.
Greg needs 200 feet to fit all these crosses, the most he's ever made at one time. Each cross will have a heart attached. He's also bringing Stars of David for Jewish victims. He writes the names and glues pictures of those who were murdered on each one. Greg knows his memorial will be a magnet for mourners.
Get out of your house, come on out to this memorial, and feel like you're part of it. You are.
Greg made his first cross 20 years ago. Since then, he's made 20,000. He understands the grief and pain of losing someone to murder.
I see my father-in-law in a pool of blood down at the bottom of the stairs, and I know what it is to be in your shoes if you've had a loss.
Greg Zanis is offering hope for those in Las Vegas and around the country who may have lost theirs.
I think it's important we all have a big cry.
Zanis is currently in his truck traveling 1,800 miles west to set up the memorial in Las Vegas. Florida prosecutors are seeking the death penalty against a woman accused of dressing up like a clown back in 1990 and murdering the wife of a man she later married. Palm Beach County State Attorney Dave Ehrenberg issued a statement today saying the death penalty is an appropriate punishment for 50-year-old Sheila Keene Warren. Warren's defense attorney Richard Lubin says she will plead not guilty. She was arrested for the murder last week after new DNA testing gave investigators evidence. Detectives have not ruled out Warren's husband, Michael, as a suspect. Before visiting Las Vegas, President Trump was in Puerto Rico hoping to bring attention for more aid. But some Puerto Ricans remain doubtful. That story still ahead.
And those high temperatures we've been seeing are sticking around. We have some rain headed our way as well. We'll have more on that next, but first, let's take a look at our stocks of local interest.
Professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything. Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
Ohio University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous. Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, this is it. And she said, the tour's just started. I said, no, you don't understand. This is it.
Hey everybody, I'm Gridiron Glory host Joseph Payton. Every Friday night live at 11:30, we will have a jam-packed show for you with everything that went down on the local gridiron that night. From every touchdown pass to every crushing hit, Gridiron Glory is your #1 source for all things Southeast Ohio football. So please be sure to tune into our show and also follow us on Twitter and Snapchat at Gridiron Glory, and of course like us on Facebook. I promise you won't want to miss out, because remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
Good evening, I'm Taylor Nimmo. Now we've been seeing some abnormally high temperatures, and those are going to be sticking around for quite some time, as well as some rain headed our way. But first, let's take a look around the region. We're in about the 80s still right now, the lower 80s all around the region. We have 82 in Ripley, 80 in Jackson, 81 in Athens. So all around hanging out in those 80s, and it's going to stay like that for the most of the next week. But today, it was a high of 81, low of 59 degrees. Way above that normal temperature. As you can see, the normal high 69 for today, low of 49. But 1951 was our record, 90 degrees, and 30 degrees in 1987. But overnight, 70 degrees at about 7 o'clock. And as we go on throughout the rest of your evening, it's just going to keep dropping a little bit lower, 65 degrees with a slight chance of rain at 8 o'clock. And it's going to start to clear out, and it's going to continue to drop around 9 p.m. and throughout the rest of the evening. But overnight lows, we're going to get down to the lower 60s, upper 50s, all around the region, 60 degrees in Athens, 59 Jackson. So we're going to drop down substantially overnight. But as we go into the morning, it's going to be a crisp, cool morning, cloudy and cool, 60 degrees. It'll feel pretty nice compared to these hot temperatures we've been feeling. But there is a slight chance of rain in the morning. Definitely going to be a day. You're going to want to bring the umbrella, because later on in the day, it's going to be, those chances of rain are just going to continue to be there for the rest of the day. So it's going to be cloudy and cool at the bus stop. But as you go on throughout your day, it's one of those confusing days. How do you need to layer up, because in the morning you're cold, but then by the time you're headed to lunchtime, it's burn it up. So just bring a sweatshirt at that point, and also a rain jacket, because we will see those chances of rain tomorrow, especially in the evening. We will get some thunderstorms. Tomorrow we will see Temperatures get up into the 80s again and upper 70s all around the region. And tomorrow it will be mostly cloudy, but we will have a chance of showers. And as well as we go through our 7-day forecast, we will have rain on the horizon. We have rain for a good chance on a couple of days this week. But if you're going to the homecoming parade this weekend, you're going to be in the clear because it will be partly cloudy on Saturday, 86 degrees. It might be a hot one, but you will be not seeing too much rain or any rain actually this weekend, except for Saturday night. There will be a slight chance, but Jacob, it's looking pretty good for the weekend. We're not going to see too much rain.
That's great. I know a lot of parents will be looking forward to that. Thanks, Taylor. Before traveling to Las Vegas, President Trump visited Puerto Rico yesterday to meet with victims of Hurricane Maria. The trip came after the mayor of San Juan criticized the federal government for not doing enough to help the Puerto Rican citizens. The president also met with and thanked first responders and local officials. Local residents said they hope the visit will bring attention to their great need for more aid. However, some remain doubtful.
What expectations do I have of President Trump? Not many. First, we're very grateful. But we are as grateful as people from Louisiana should be, or as people from Houston should be, or as people from Florida should be. We're American citizens.
While fatalities have remained low, crisis conditions persist. 7% of residents have no power, and less than half the population has access to drinkable water. Telecommunication services are still down for the majority of the island. Let's toss it to Thomas Garvey.
Hi, my name is Thomas Garvey. After the break, Ohio women's soccer and volleyball are back in action tomorrow. I highlight what to expect from the two teams this week. Also coming up, the New York Yankees came back to beat the Minnesota Twins in last night's postseason playoff opener. Find out who helped the Bronx Bombers come back from behind next on Newswatch. Stay tuned to WOUB. Here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
I'm Gridiron Glory host Joseph Payton. Every Friday night live at 11:30, we will have a jam-packed show for you with everything that went down on the local gridiron that night. From every touchdown pass to every crushing hit, Gridiron Glory is your #1 source for all things Southeast Ohio football. So please be sure to tune into our show and also follow us on Twitter and Snapchat at Gridiron Glory, and of course like us on Facebook. I promise you won't want to miss out, because remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
Ohio University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything.
Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous. Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
Welcome back. I'm Thomas Garvey. It's October, and baseball fans know what that means. The MLB postseason kicked off last night between the New York Yankees and the Minnesota Twins. After the Twins took an early lead, Didi Gregorius tied the game at 3 with his 3-run shot in the bottom of the first. And a couple innings later, all rise for the 6'7" Aaron Judge. He hit a 2-run home run to give the team a lead, and from there they went on to win 8-4. Yankees manager Joe Girardi talked about Judge's infectious attitude that has spread around his ball club.
When I look at Aaron, there's a smile on his face a lot, and there's just something about him, the way he carries himself, that you just feel really good when he's around.
Will face the Cleveland Indians on Thursday in the American League Division Series with first pitch slated for 7:30 p.m. Now heading to the National League. The Colorado Rockies head to Arizona to face the Diamondbacks in the second wild card game tonight. Both teams come as a surprise to be in the postseason this year. The Rockies' last appearance was in 2009, and for the Diamondbacks, their last season of postseason ball came in 2010. Both teams lack experience, but a guy that is certainly no stranger to the spotlight is Diamondbacks ace Zach Greinke. The former Cy Young winner will be making his 10th career postseason start tonight. For the Rockies, they'll be sending their best pitcher on the mound, John Gray, who won 10 games this year. He went 2-0 against these Diamondbacks and will try to get win number 3 tonight. The winner will face the LA Dodgers in the National League Division Series on Friday. Another big week filled with action comes the way of the Ohio women's soccer team. They'll look to bounce back after a tough weekend that saw them fall to Ball State 3-1 on Friday and a tie with rival Miami on Sunday. The Bobcats take on Buffalo tomorrow with a chance to get to the 500 mark on the season. With the Bobcats having last week's MAC Players of the Week in Hannah Jaggers and Allie Curry, they'll have a great shot at defending their home turf. Kickoff tomorrow against the Bulls is set for 4 p.m. Then on Sunday, the Bobcats will play in Cleveland when they take on Akron. That game's set for 1 p.m. There will be no action in the Convo this weekend as the Ohio women's volleyball team heads on the road twice this week for more conference play. It's been an up and down season for this squad that sits 2 games below the 500 mark at 8-10. The team is coming off a 3-1 loss to the Bowling Green Falcons on Saturday. This Bobcat team has been plagued by miscues, including a staggering 27 attack errors against the Falcons. The Bobcats will try to clean that up tomorrow night as they hit the road to try to get back on track. They take on Kent State with tip-off set for 7 p.m. This week's AP Ohio High School poll came out, and once again, there's only one team in Gridiron's coverage ranked inside the top 10. The Nelsonville York Buckeyes find themselves sliding into the 4 slot in Division 4. The Buckeyes are still undefeated at 6-0 and find themselves at the top of the TVC Ohio. Led by Garrett Maiden offensively and Ronnie Wynn defensively, the Buckeyes will only continue to rise in the rankings. They're back in action this Friday against Wellston. I'm Thomas Garvick, and that's it for sports. Back to you, Jacob.
Ohio University's homecoming is this weekend, and events are being held throughout the week to prepare. The Paint the Town Green decorating contest was judged today. Those results will be announced on Thursday, which is when the Yell Like Hell pep rally will take place. On Friday, there will be hay rides at the Ridges as well as an Alumni Awards Gala. And on Saturday before the football game, you can watch the homecoming parade right here on WOUB.org.
Now we do have a lot of events. Thanks, Jacob, for those homecoming events, but let's look at the temperature for that homecoming weekend. It's going to be in the upper 80s, 86 on Saturday. It's going to be nice though. We are not going to see too much rain on the weekend, but we might see a little bit of thunderstorms in the evening. Sunday will be high of 81, low of 63. We will see a chance of rain there too. We've got, as you can see throughout the week, there's going to be rain moving in throughout the week. But tomorrow especially, in the evening, there will be thunderstorms, so make sure you remember your rain jacket, your umbrella, because we will be seeing those tomorrow evening. But it looks like, as well as homecoming weekend, it's looking pretty nice for that.
Thanks, Taylor. And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Jacob Solether. Stay tuned for the PBS News Hour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org. Have a great night.
I'm Gridiron Glory host Joseph Payton. Every Friday night live at 11:30, we will have a jam-packed show for you with everything that went down on the local gridiron that night. From every touchdown pass to every crushing hit, Gridiron Glory is your #1 source for all things Southeast Ohio football. So please be sure to tune into our show and also follow us on Twitter and Snapchat at Gridiron Glory, and of course like us on Facebook. I promise you won't want to miss out, because remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.